Welcome back, everybody. As you may know, if you've watched some of my past videos, you know I'm a reloader. I've done some of my reloading equipment in the past, but this is a relatively new piece of equipment, and so I wanted to show it off a little bit. And I'm so enamored of it that I thought, since I'm doing some reloading today, I'd go ahead and make a video of it. This is, of course, the RCBS bench-mounted auto prime tool, I believe is what they call it. I've had it about 6 months, and every time I have to do some reloading and priming, this thing's just a joy to use. It's so simple and works flawlessly for me. It might not today since we're recording it, but in the past I've used, I got just a rock checker mount you can see here, RCBS 2, and they have a small priming arm that can go in here, and you can use the press to press your primers in, or they make also an automatic primer tube that fits on that and helps feed it in, but it's still a manual process using the press to jam your primers up into your cases, and none of that worked well for me. It added a lot of appendages and whatnot to the press that I didn't really like. I've loaded for, I don't know, I've been loading for I don't know how many years, 30, almost 40 years, I guess. And this is the way I've found now I prefer to do it. It's just fantastic. I've also used these hand primer tools too. In fact, I've used these for many years. I've worn one out, and this is my second one. And they're kind of a pain in the rear. You gotta pretty much disassemble them, take this out, take the rod out, just to change shell holders or to change your primer size. Use this little round tray. I don't know if they make a square tray for these yet or not. Hopefully they do. I believe they might, because they do make a square tray now. That, you know, all primers for the most part come in square boxes. They finally got with it and made a square tray to go with it. But these older ones are always round, and I'm sure they're still available. They're terrible to try and hit them with your primer box. Just so much easier. A simple little thing can make life so much easier. So anyway, let's just go through the process. I got some 45 ACP. It's already cleaned up, run through the tumbler, and resized. Primers pushed out. Primer pockets have been cleaned as about as well as I clean them, just to make certain that the primer seats. I run a little primer tool through it. Just a little handheld tool here. I just give it a quick scrubbing out to make sure that it's fairly clean, and once that's done, a little puff of air blowing on it or whatever gets it cleaned out. And the first step in using this thing, of course, is loading the unit. And in operation, it's really a simple operation. It's a two-stroke operation. Your loading stroke, or your priming stroke, and then you have to push down on it, which forces it to load another primer in the primer pocket. And this is spring loaded, so that when you have your case in there, and if you're familiar with primers, you've probably seen these before, and then that just allows you to seat your primer right up in there. Two sizes, super easy to change out. You just pull out the plunger, swap it over, and you're ready to go. We're doing large pistol primers, and takes just a standard shell holder, just like this press does. This snaps right into place. Both Lee and RCBS shell holders are fitted. Certain others probably will too. Those are about the only two I use. And we want to make sure we got the right size primer pocket, which we do. You can, I don't know if this will focus in, but you can see there's two sizes, the large size and then the small size. The outside dimensions are the same, What changes is the inside dimension for the different size of primer. We'll just set that in its convenient little storage pocket and drop that down in. We're ready to go. This is spring loaded, so it naturally wants to fall backwards when you raise the handle. It will always fall backwards because of this spring that's on it. And this just operates off of weight, but the feel of it is tremendous. Better feel than I can get with my hand primer for me. Let me move this handle out of the way. Let's go ahead and show you the process of what I do. Let's get the tube, just slips right out of there. Make certain you have this cotter pin snapped into place on it. If you don't have this in there, you're going to dump 100 primers out on the floor, or however many you've loaded in it. It does have 100 capacity of 100 primers, and you get 2 of these. One is small and one is large, and this is the large primer. And the way it works, we've got some primers here. I've already loaded about 200. I got 50 more to go on this run today. Looks like there's about 20 in this package. I'll go ahead and get them in there. Just flip it over and I can count them out. There's 10 and 20. Make sure I got them all out. And the other great thing about these is you don't have to touch your primers. They're always going to be fresh from the box without human contact. And there's 30 more primers in this little box, and we'll just get them out, and then you can see why a square primer tray is fantastic for this operation. Then we just shake it around. This has got these little grooves in it. It just takes a few shakes, and they're all setting with the closed side down and the anvil side up. And what we want to do in order to load this, we flip it over with the cover on and lift the base of it off, and now they're all face downwards. The anvil's facing down, and that's the way we want to load this thing. Let me get in here, and then it's just got a little plastic tip on it, and we just use it like a pencil and just go through and snap them up. Works that simple. You don't have to be that precise with it. I'm going to pick all 50 of these up. Sorry to bore you this way, but it doesn't take long. You can shake it a little, spread them out. Sorry if my hands are in the way. I've got limited space here in my reloading room. A little easier maybe if they aren't touching each other quite, but keep from snapping them around and losing them. Looks like we got about 6 more to go here, or 7. That's it. We're all loaded up. Now make sure before you flip it over that, like I said, that this cotter pin is in place. If not, you're going to dump all of your primers on the floor. Now there's going to be one stuck right up in the little holder on the end of it, the little pickup plastic, and I just take a little bamboo skewer. I use these all the time in gunsmithing. They work great. And pop that down, right down in, you're ready to go. And then it's just a simple matter of dropping this in its little slot till it seats on the little spring right above this little spring loader plunger. That's to keep the primers up in the tube until you're ready to pull the next one down. And when you do pull it down, you'll pull it down. Of course, one's not going to load because I haven't pulled that cotter pin out yet. You force that little plunger in, it drops one right into the cup there. When you tilt it back, you raise up on it, drops it out of the way, put your shell in and push down, and it's just a real light pressure. It got plenty of leverage here. So move my primer tray out of the way here, and we'll pull that cotter pin out and show you how easy this process is. Pull the cotter pin out, make sure it's loaded in your unit. Otherwise, again, you have the tendency to perhaps drop them all. Now, so to load the cup, we push down up against that spring plunger, a little more pressure, locks it in place, and you can see in there, hopefully, there's a primer down in the pocket. Raise the handle, and that lowers that down into it, and there's just a simple little push on the handle, and we're ready to go. You can see this piece of brass has been used a couple of times. Get it to focus here. Now there's a couple of extractor marks, but it seats it to the correct depth. Doesn't damage the primer in any manner. It's just an ideal situation. I've often, with my hand primer, had enough leverage with my hands to actually flatten the primers. I never had one fail or had one accidentally go off or anything like that, but this is a much better system. And get another one here, and we'll just go through a few, and you see how fast and easy it is. Got my tray set over here, and that's the operation of it. I can do it as quick or as slow as I want to. I can feel exactly when that primer is bottomed out, so I don't set it any deeper than it has to be, or mash it, or leave it accidentally standing proud. I always run my finger over the base of them, and I can just feel how deep it is. Make certain that it's not standing proud of the case. And then if you're worried, you of course set it down. If it rocks, then you've got a primer that needs to be looked at, and you can visually inspect it too, and it's pretty obvious if it's seated just below the height of the case there. Now with the camera here in the way, I can't quite go as quick as I normally would. Just seat it in till it feels seated. Run my finger over the base as I put it in upside down in my loading block, and that way I can see which ones have a primer in and which ones don't. And also I'll leave them upside down in the primer block as I fill them with powder too. Then it's obvious which ones are right side up and have their primer or their powder already installed in the case. So there's 15 we've already done right there. Here's number 16. And I'll stop there for a minute and swing my camera around here so you can see I got a lot of reloading to do. That's just that's maybe half of what I have to do. I've gotten kind of behind here doing projects and whatnot. And you can see my loading block set up over there. You can see how some are upside down and some are. The ones that are upside down have the primers installed and the others don't. We'll run them through the expander die, and then they'll remain upside down. Now I fill them with powder, turn them right side up as I do that. You can see there's 50 stacks of 50 there. And then we'll run them through the press, size them, or rather seat the bullets, and then use a Lee crimp die on them. So, but the main point is I wanted to show off this RCBS auto primer tool that I'm enjoying a lot. So thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you next time.